Welcome, Middlers, to the Medium in the Middle podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I take you on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual exploration. I am a Reiki master teacher, a spiritual and business mentor, and of course, a psychic medium. And I am here to share my story and help you tap into your extraordinary abilities. Join me every Wednesday as we dive into the realms of intuition, energy healing, and all things mystical. Whether you're a seasoned spiritual seeker or just dipping your toes into the magical waters, this podcast is your go-to source for inspiration, guidance, and a whole lot of lessons and laughter along the way. Let's get started. Hello, Middlers. Welcome to episode 257. My name is Stephanie. I am the medium in the middle. And I actually just received a message where someone said, I was curious to know where the Middlers started. And apparently it started at episode 77. So thank you for that person for messaging me that. That's a really interesting little fact. But welcome back, Middlers. I just wrapped up my 200th Reiki course, virtual Reiki course. And that 200 courses just includes Reiki Level 1 and Reiki Level 2 virtual courses. So in honor to celebrate that, I was asked a few courses ago a really good question that I've been wanting to talk about on the podcast. So we're going to talk about it today. There is no card pull today. I am not feeling like we need one this week. So we're actually going to jump right into this week's topic. It was inspired from a question from one of my past Reiki students. In Reiki Level 1, we learn about our own energy and it's focused all on you. I always say Reiki Level 1, we start at home, we focus on you, we learn about your energy, and we learn about how you work with Reiki. So part of that course is me teaching you how to clear your energy. Because when you clear your energy and you learn how to clear your energy and you learn how to have boundaries, it makes it a lot easier for you to understand what is your energy and what is not your energy. So the analogy that I use in the class is I say, imagine you are wearing a white suit, white pants, white shirt, white jacket, white gloves, white shoes. And we all know, of course, when you wear a white shirt, you always dribble something, and there's that very obvious one little small dot on your white shirt that happened to fall the one time you decide to wear white. So I use the analogy, and then I say, imagine everyone else is holding a different color paintbrush. So every interaction you have, you're getting different color paints on you. So this is why it's important to clear your energy. This is why it's important that we are doing it often. Clearing your energy is not something that's a one and done. I clear my energy probably 8 to 10 times a day. It's something you do often and forever. It's the only thing I've noticed that I have to do often and forever. Boundaries, I feel like I can set them and they're pretty good for a while. If I feel like they start to fade, then I just reset the boundary. I feel like certain things with spirit, once you say them once, you're kind of good to go. But clearing is something that you do all day, every day, especially if you're having a lot of interactions during the day. If I'm staying home and I'm not going to see anyone all day, I don't need to clear my energy. But before work, after work, before bed, when I get home from being out, I like to clear my energy often just so that I'm always feeling at my best. I always feel in tip-top shape. And I'm not carrying around any other's energy that's not mine. I like to imagine it as suitcases. So I don't want to carry any suitcase that isn't mine. I want to remember to put it down. I want to remember to clear my energy. And this helps me always feel good. I never feel tired. I don't feel exhausted at the end of the day. I don't feel overwhelmed. I don't feel random bouts of anxiety. I always feel close to 100% from the second I wake up to the second I go to sleep. So I really do credit this to how much I clear my energy. So as I was teaching this lesson about clearing energy and boundaries and finding out what works for you, I had a student ask a very good question. So the student asked if there has ever been anyone's energy that I didn't want to clear. And I said, that's a very good question because I get this a lot, especially with people who are married or people who have kids. And they say things like, well, I don't want to clear my kids' energy. Well, I don't need to clear my kids' energy. Well, it's not bad energy, so why would I clear it? And it's not good or bad. You guys have heard me say this probably a million times, but the big bad words in energy are good, bad, open, close, blocked. I don't like to use those words to describe energy because I don't think they're helpful at all, and I find that they create more harm than good. You need way more information than good, bad, open, close, blocked. So I try not to describe anything like that. But in regards to the question of has there ever been anyone's energy you don't want to clear, I answered it like this. I said, no. And it's not that, oh, I like you enough, I don't have to clear your energy, or I love you because you're my child, so I don't have to clear my energy, or you're my husband or partner, so I don't want to clear your energy. It is that it doesn't belong to me. So if it doesn't belong to me, I always want to clear it. Doesn't matter how much I like you, love you, like your energy, it's still not mine. And the analogy that I used when I was answering this question, you're going to laugh at this. I used the example of clean, clean, clean underwear. And I said, would you want to wear someone else's underwear? And we all laughed and we were like, no, like, of course not. Ew, you only wear your own underwear. And I was like, exactly. It's not that your underwear are bad. They're clean. They're perfectly fine. It's just they're not my underwear. I wear my underwear. And you want to think about energy as being that close and that personal to your body. So it is something that you are carrying on you. The same thing when I explain about Reiki and how we always have to do it with consent. The analogy that I use for that is Reiki is like a hug. Is a hug ever harmful? No. If a stranger walked up to you on the street and gave you a hug, wouldn't that be weird? Yes. If you were sitting in a restaurant and a stranger walked up to you and tried to give you a hug, wouldn't that be uncomfortable? Yes. But if your friend gives you a hug, yeah, that's fine. If your partner gives you a hug, yeah, that's fine. But it's when it's not consensual. Yes, a hug is not bad. A hug from a stranger is very uncomfortable and weird, which is why we always have to ask consent. We don't walk up to people in the street and give them a hug. We also don't walk up to people in the street and read their energy. We also don't walk up to someone random and ask to borrow a clean, clean, clean pair of underwear. Why? Because it's not your underwear. It's not your energy. There's nothing bad about their underwear. There's nothing wrong with their underwear, but it's not yours. So why would you put it on? Now, there will be some people listening who would borrow someone else's underwear if they forgot theirs, who would put on someone else's bathing suit if they needed a bathing suit. And that is why clearing your energy and boundaries are all unique to you and what you want and what you're comfortable with and what works for you. Some people don't need to clear their energy 8 times a day. I work in energy. I work with a lot of people. And I'm also more sensitive to energy, and I like to fall asleep easily, and I like to sleep through the night, and I always like to only feel my own energy, so I clear and ground a lot. Some people might not even be bothered. Some people might not sense as much as I do. Some people might not care, and they'll be like, yeah, I want to go swimming. Give me that bathing suit. So this is all personal, and you just have to find what works for you and what do you need for clearing and what do you need for boundaries. But I thought it was a very good question because I do think it's a common misconception that if you're clearing energy, it's because it's bad energy. Or if you're clearing energy, it's because you don't like the energy. And that's not necessarily true. It's just, is that energy yours? Does it belong to you? Is it a suitcase that you need to be carrying? And if the answer is no, you put down the suitcase or you clear it off of you. It's quite simple. So I prefer to always have clear energy. I just find it supports me the most. I don't get random anxiety. I don't feel random emotions. I don't feel extremes of like, I'm so happy, sad, angry, tired. I don't feel exhausted at the end of the day. I don't feel like I'm carrying a bunch of suitcases that aren't mine. I can't stress this enough. I work 6 days a week and I feel great all the time. I don't feel tired after work. I don't feel tired when I wake up. I sleep 8, 9 hours a night and I go to bed at night and I wake up in the morning and everything is fine. So I used to have a lot of problems where I couldn't go out for dinner, I couldn't sit in a yoga class, I couldn't go to the grocery store, I had a really hard time at the mall, I had a really hard time at concerts, I didn't like going out to the bars where there was crowds. Now I can do all of those things perfectly fine because I just know that I have to clear. Or if I'm going to a yoga class, I put on my eggshell. Or if I'm going to the grocery store, I make sure that I don't pick up anyone's energy that's not mine. And I make sure that if I hug or touch anyone, I just go wash my hands and clear my energy afterwards. So I've found a lot of ways that I can now do all these things that years ago I couldn't. I used to get random anxiety when I was out to dinner and I would have to pack up my meal. I would have to pack up my entree and go home and I would feel so sick. I was like, I have to go. I can't even eat my entree at the restaurant. I can't even tell you how many times I ordered appetizers and then by the time the entree came, I was putting it in a box and running home because I was so overwhelmed and I was so anxious and I didn't realize that it was other people's energy in the restaurant that I was feeling. And then for some reason, magically, every time when I got home, I would walk through the door and feel fine. And I would open my takeout box and eat my food and feel dumb that I had to leave the restaurant because now I felt fine. Now that I know that I'm being bombarded by other people's energy, I can just put a boundary up against that. I can just clear that. And if I do ever feel overwhelmed, if I'm out at a restaurant, if I'm at a concert, if I'm in a crowd, I just go to the bathroom and clear. So I think knowing this and having the awareness and being able to clear your own energy is so, so, so powerful. But yes, it is completely up to you what your comfort level is and how much you want to clear. I always recommend clearing after work and I always recommend clearing before bed just to make sure that you have a good sleep. But you can do as you wish throughout the day and see how much you need. You also might not need after work and before bed. It is completely up to you and what works for you, your body, your energy, and what you feel is needed. So I thought that was a really good question. And after doing more than 200 courses, it is rare that I get a question that I've never received before. So I wrote this one down and I was like, ooh, this would be a great podcast episode because I do believe that a common misconception is, oh, I have to clear energy because it's bad, because it's negative. And people are always like, well, I don't want to clear my kids. I don't want to clear my partner. And it's not bad or negative energy. It's just not yours. So if I ever receive a question that I've never received before, I think it's a great conversation to bring to the podcast because, yeah, after 200 times, there's not much I haven't heard before, but this was a good one. So I hope you found this helpful when you consider what you need for your own energy, when you think about clearing your energy, and when you think about learning what is yours and not yours, what is your suitcase, what is your energy, what are you comfortable with, what works for you, and as soon as you find that sweet spot, you are good to go. Yes, it took me a while to find my sweet spot, but now I am overjoyed that I can go to the mall and feel okay. I can go to concerts, I can go out for dinner, I can hug now. That was a new one and it took me a long time, but I can hug and it's not something that I have to run to go clear right away. I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll just clear when I go home and I'll be fine. So you can also learn how to tolerate more energy as well. So I wanted to bring that energy conversation to the podcast. You guys know I'm always talking about Reiki and my Reiki courses. The Reiki courses for March are sold out. But in April, the next level 1 is April 12th and 13th, and the next level 2 is April 26th and 27th. Mediumship practice circles, there are 2 in March. March 15th at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time and Thursday, March 27th at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Again, these are just practice circles, so anyone who wants to practice mediumship is welcome. And I've been trying a few different formats to give you multiple partners and see what works better for you. Again, we're practicing, so some things will work for you and some things will not. That's why we practice, practice, practice. So I will leave all the links you need down below in the show notes for the monthly mediumship practice circle or for Reiki courses. Again, I host Reiki Level 1 and Reiki Level 2 courses every single month. My mentorship program will be opening again very soon. The waitlist is going to get it first, and then if you are interested in working with me from April into July, this will be the second time my mentees in the middle one-on-one mentorship will be opening again. So you can jump on that, or else it'll open one more time in August to work together until November. If you want to work with me, I offer my sessions in person or virtually. My website, The Medium in the Middle, has all the information of how to book with me. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast. I release new episodes every Wednesday. But until next Wednesday, Middlers, when I see you in your ears, I hope you have a wonderful week. Start clearing your energy and see if it helps you feel better.